Hello, and thank you for joining me here at So Forth and So On. I'm Kathy, and today I decided I would like to make a drawstring backpack. So I have already started, and I just cut out a rectangle of fabric. I believe it's 17 by 11, so it's going to be a longer backpack. And I decided I'm going to put a pocket on and a little pleat on the pocket, and I might even box the bottom of it. But just to show you what I've done so far, here is the front, this is the top here, and here is my pocket that I have to attach. But I put a little pleat right there, if you can see. And I've attached the pocket onto the front of the backpack already. I did this on one side. At the top I already sewed the casing, and I also folded in the long edges of the entire strip of fabric. So the prep work was done on one side, but now I have to flip it over and do the same thing on the other side of the backpack, and I figured that's where you could join me on there. Before I go to sewing these parts here, I do want to show you I made the strap, and I only made one because I can take you through the process with the other one. It's very long. Well, it's involved. So I cut several strips of fabric and I had to sew them together to make long, almost like making bias tape. And then I folded it in half, folded in half again, and made this long and sewed all the way down the long edge, and we'll do that together after we do this part. So getting started here, what I'd like to do first is that top edge. I folded it down about 1/4 of an inch, that raw edge, ironed it, and then I folded it down again, and I'm going to leave enough room so that I can slip my thread or my straps through. So I'm just going to sew along very close to the bottom of the edge, that top edge there, so that we can make our casing or our channel here. Using a straight stitch, 2.5 inch length, and that's about it. Here we go. And be sure to back stitch at the beginning and end of your stitches, because this is not going to be sewn inside the next seam. This is what's going to hold the rope, so you want that to be secure. So that's all set there. Now we'll go to our pocket. And here I have that pleat right on front here. So what I'm going to do is just sew all the way across the top edge of the pocket before I attach it to the bottom. And I just move my needle all the way over to the right. Now it's not necessary to back stitch here because this is going to get sewn into the next seam. So just sew it straight across. A nice top stitch. To complement your little pleat. Be careful not to sew over your pins. So you can take your time, go slowly, so that you won't lose your pleat when you remove your pin. Okay, so we're done with that. The bag sews up pretty quickly. It's mostly the preparation work that takes up all the time. And I think that's with any project. It's always the preparation. Once you have everything prepared, the sewing goes rather quickly. Okay, so now we are going to attach the pocket to the bottom of the bag, or wherever you want your pocket. Mine is not at the very bottom, but it's in the lower part of the bag. I just pinned it in place. And I would say it's about about 4 or 5 inches from the bottom of the bag. But you can place your pocket wherever you like. And I'm just sewing along this edge. Now I have the bag placed upside down, and I'm going to sew that seam, and then when I fold it right side up, the seam is inside the pocket and it won't be seen, and I'll do a top stitch as well. So here we go. I am again sewing about a 1/4 inch seam, and I'm using a straight stitch and 2.5 inch. Make sure your fabric stays nice and straight and even and so forth. Okay, so now we're going to, this is what we just sewn across here. It's the top of the bag, and now we're going to take this and fold it up. It's going to be our pocket with our little pleat in there. And what I'm going to do is sew right along here, top stitch along here, just to hold that pocket up. And we are moving right along. Move your needle back to the center. The needle position. Okay, so that should give the bottom of our bag a little bit more strength. Now, what we want to do is lay everything up nice and neat. So we have everything nice and neat. And I left some of that pocket hang out to make sure that I caught it in the seam of the bag. Because I didn't want to sew the pocket and then all of a sudden the pocket is, open on the side. So I just made sure some of that hung out in that way. So now you can pin it if you want to. I'll put a pin right here to remind me to stop just before I get to the casing, because we need a place for our handles. Also, about 2 inches from the bottom you want to leave an opening so that you can put your string through there. So we'll put pins here. There. And we'll do the same thing on this side. And this is so when we once we have our handles through, the straps, we can put it through and it'll be on the inside of the bag. Okay. I'm still not sure if I want to box the bottom or not. It would make the bag stand up nicely. We shall see. Okay, so we're going to sew from here all the way up, from here all the way up, and just a little bit right here and right here. Then I'll decide if I'm going to box the bottom. I'm going to use a straight stitch at 2.5. And I'm going to stitch just inside that folded part, on that folded edge. And I back stitch just that opening that I left for the strap. I back stitch there to give it a little strength. You don't want your fabric to move on you. That would be the main reason for the pins, because you have so many layers and it's doing a lot here, so you just might put some pins in just to keep the fabric from shifting around on you. Alright. One side that's done. Let's do the other side. Put on the other side. Don't want to sew over. Never sew over pins. It could be a big problem for you or your machine, or both. Go over those stress points a few times to make sure that it's strong enough and won't lose your stitches or tear so easily. Okay, so now we have sewn both sides. And let me take a look at this bottom to see if I want to box the corner. And I think at this point I would just say no. Okay, but you can get rid of some of this extra bulk here. And I'm using pinking shears, and that just helps keep the fabric from fraying. I'm not cutting the edge that I folded in. I'm cutting the pocket piece that I left hanging out, because the rest of the bag, that part, that seam is folded, so it won't show badly. But using the pinking shears keeps your fabric from fraying. Alright, and we'll do the same thing to the other side. Little thread. They do have a rotary cutter that has a pinking blade, but I've had my pinking shears for a few years now, so I'm just used to using them. Okay, use what we have. Okay, so all that is straightened out. I have a couple threads here I can cut. I know they don't want to be on the inside, but still, just make it a habit to cut your thread and make your project nice and neat. Because even if no one sees it, you know if you did something incorrect or left it wrong. Okay. Alright, so now we just like any other bag, we're going to reach inside and get in that corner. I might come back later and box these corners, we'll see. But we're going to turn it right side out. And I like to always give a good shake. Now, you can press the seams if you want to, or not. I'm not going to press these seams. This is just a simple project for me to keep some stuff in. So now, so far so good. We have the bag here, my casing's up here, my pockets here, my pockets here. And so now we are going to insert our straps. I'm just poking out these corners a little bit more, and then making sure my opening for the strap is there as well. Okay. So with your strap, you want to take a safety pin. I'm not going to use a safety pin. I'm going to use my threader, but you can use a safety pin, or if you can have a tool, go right ahead and use it. And we're going to take it into that first channel right here, and then just take it all the way around. Once you come out this end, just continue on around into the channel here. Take it all the way around. And you just have to keep scooching it along. Once you get that side out, you lay that flat, and you can remove this tool. It's just a little snap there. And your bag, let's just pretend like these are the straps all done. Like this is both straps. you would take both straps, and that little opening you left here, you would put it inside. About an inch or so. And then you sew it up. And then you would have your backpack. I'm going to pin this so I can show you. Okay, and so that would be the double strings on this side, and then your other string you would take it in the opposite direction and then insert it on this side, and then you'd have your drawstring backpack with pockets. I hope you enjoyed watching me make this quick drawstring backpack. I hope you will decide to make your own. You can use whatever fabric, whatever measurements. You don't even have to make your own straps. You can use cord, ribbon, whatever you want that will fit through the channels, the casing that you leave for the drawstring bag. So give it a try. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a like. Please subscribe and share. And make a comment as well. I'd love to know what's on your mind. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day, and so on and so forth.